Hi everyone, Mary here, and we're going to spend some time talking about the observing project that you are going to do for our astronomy class. Now, any astronomy class in the world that is worth its salt is going to ask you to look at the sky. So I am going to ask you to look at the sun, the moon, and the stars. There are 3 parts to this project. It will take you a minimum of 5 weeks to complete it. Please start as early as possible because of the fact that weather, clouds, family commitments, the flu, your dog getting sick, something is going to get in your way. So please start this as early as possible. And trust me, I have had dozens and dozens of students who wait till the very last minute and then they say, the sky has been cloudy for a whole week. And I go, yes, I know it gets that way sometimes. So start as quickly as you can. The first part of the project, I'm going to ask you to look at the position of sunrise or sunset. The position of sunrise and sunset changes as we go through the seasons, from winter solstice to spring equinox and to the longest day in the mid-June. It just changes all the time. And I want you to notice this. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Pick either sunrise or sunset. Please do not do both. Just pick one. And I want you to stand at the same spot and look in the same direction and make 5 observations. Each observation must be at least 1 week apart. And how you're going to record these observations is one of 2 ways. You can either do it by snapping a photo with your cell phone, or you can do it with sketches, whichever way is the most convenient for you. Now, if you choose to do this with photos, please make sure that you are standing in exactly the same spot, looking in exactly the same position. And I highly recommend that you do something to assist yourself, like lean against a fence post or put your phone on top of a mailbox or something to make sure that you are getting the same perspective. This is a collection of photos that I found, and you'll notice that the trees are all lined up. This tree is all lined up. This hill is all one on top of another. What you're going to turn in is going to be your photos. Now, your photos, one after another, you can upload them here or you can attach them on a separate piece of paper. You are also going to include the date and the time of every observation. And what I want you to notice is, what direction did the sun rise or sunset move over time? Is the sun moving towards the north, or is the sun moving towards the south, or did it reverse directions? And it does do that. Now, if cell phones and photos are not your thing, you are welcome to do this by simply making simple sketches. Please use stationary objects as points of reference: buildings, fences, trees, things that won't move. And again, you are standing in the same spot to make all of your observations. When you record your observations, which one are you observing, sunrise or sunset? Where are you making these observations? Your town, your state, and your location. For example, you're looking east out of your front door, or you're standing at the end of your driveway, or you are looking out your bedroom window. I don't need tremendous detail, but I do want you to know exactly what is the point of reference that you're using to make your observations. Now, when you're done with this, answer the question: what direction did you see this move? The second part of the observing project is to ask you to look at the moon. I want you to observe the phases of the moon. This must be spread out at least over 21 days. I want you to make at least 6 different observations, and you may do a lot more. Observing the moon can sometimes be very easy to do. Each observation must be at least 3 days apart in order for it to count as a grade. And how are you going to record that data? You're going to record it on this data table. I made a data table for you that looks very much like a calendar. And when you record the moon, you're going to put in the date, the time, the location in the sky, sketch in the phase of the moon, and then sketch and then name it waxing gibbous, waning crescent, whatever it is. For location in the sky, what I'm going to ask you to do is where is the moon located? Is it on the eastern horizon, on the western horizon, 30 degrees above the eastern horizon, straight above my head at my zenith, 15 degrees above the eastern horizon? How are you going to measure these angles? I want you to practice. In our very first lab, you used your hands and fingers and arms to measure angles. I want you to use that skill, practice that skill to measure these positions of the moon. For the last part of the observing project, I want you to look at the sky and look at stars, planets, and constellations. Now, you're going to go out and look at the stars at least 2 times. Each observation must be at least 2 weeks apart. And in each observation, here's what I'm going to ask you to record. At least 6 constellations, any planets that are visible, and I want you to sketch the night sky for the period of time or the moment that you are actually observing the sky. You're going to sketch the constellations and label them. Write the names down of what constellations you are seeing. Write down the names of the important stars like Polaris, Aldebaran, Betelgeuse. What are those important names? Are there any planets that you can see? I don't expect you to instantly know this. That's why you look things up on the internet. That's why you use the planisphere to help locate those constellations. That's why you use an astronomy app. Find a planet and figure out what it is and label that on your observations. If the moon is out there in your observing sphere, well, you include that in your sketch and label it with what phase of the moon is occurring right now, and indicate what direction you are looking. So 2 observations, the city, the state, the date, the time you do your observing, what direction or directions you are looking, north and west or east and south. You're probably going to look over multiple parts of the sky. You're going to sketch this out. And quite frankly, if this is too small a space for you to use and you need a 1 piece of paper for each observation, that is fine, but make sure you include all of the information that has been requested in the lab. So if you have any questions as you work on the observing project, please let me know. As I mentioned before, please start early and we will be in touch. Bye-bye.